Nostalgia is cool. Nostalgia is the emotional ties that we have with our past. Nostalgia reminds us of what was and excites us of what could be.
Ooh, reminds us
that's
of what
that's all
was and excites us.
nonsense.
That's nice.
That's all
No, but
rubbish.
that's nice. I like it. It's not rubbish. I actually really like your
Oh, man.
description.
Welcome.
Yo, what's up and welcome to episode 91 of the 30% podcast, hosted by yours truly, Afam and Sam. Sam, what's up?
Yep. Sky's blue. Is it blue? I think it's. Check.
The sky is blue.
Indeed blue. Sky
listen,
blue.
That's a fantastic quote by Sam, who is borderline philosopher of the month.
Because I said the sky is blue. Look at the bar to being a philosopher. Oh wow, how far we've fallen as a human race. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, we've really fallen. You guys can stream this podcast where you stream podcasts, and you can watch us or listen to us on YouTube. Yo, Sam, how has your week been?
It's been alright. Wait, which our recording day shifted. My week has been good. It's been producing. It's been lots of productions. Lots and lots of music production. But yeah, not much happened, honestly.
What type of music have you been making?
I started a new series where I want to do like short snippets of like drum breaks. I just fell in love with like drum breaks recently, so I decided I did the first one. It's called on Instagram. Like it's like a break. It's called Break Time. So like a whole bunch of different. I don't know whether it's like going to culminate into a project or something. That would be cool. But then I just want to like make like short sampled songs, I guess you call them, like a minute each of just like drum breaks and like a sample. And then I've been working on lo-fi music. I'm so excited for my lo-fi music stuff. I just need to put it out, and I haven't put it out. And this is what we'll be saying: is that all that procrastination blurb I'll be doing in the end, all that story procrastination, I haven't been listening to myself, which is wrong.
Bro, sorry to interrupt, because same. Even me, I've been on myself to be like, yo, I need to take my own advice on the 3 C's, bro. Like I swear I had the same thought process that you had.
That's crazy. I need to get on my I just need to put it out. I'm really excited for the Lo-Fi project. I guess when I'm ready to put it out, I'll talk about it. But it's a really interesting idea I've had for maybe a year now, a year and a half. There's nothing new under the sun, obviously, but it's very old things are exciting, old ideas. Old exciting ideas. So that's that. Apart from that, just been chilling, trying to get my life in order, or more in order than it is.
I want to dispute that saying there's nothing new under the sun, because bro, listen, what if a comet from a different solar system was to fly into ours, right? That would technically mean that it's new under the sun. So honestly,
we didn't specify which sun, because I'm pretty sure from wherever it came from, there was a sun around there. Our sun is not the only sun in the galaxy, the star system.
The sun, when people say the sun, the article there usually is in reference to something that we all commonly like associate with. And whenever anybody talks about the sun, we're referring to our sun, which is the star that we have as the sun in
the sun isn't the sun just the name of the sun? It's a star.
Yeah,
right?
it is. It's a star, but
So
it's our sun.
it's our star, and there's stars
So
everywhere.
that's why I'm telling you, if there was a comet to come, like, and I'm sure that's happened before. I'm sure there's things that are new under the sun every day, man.
Oh
Every
man,
day it happens. Anyway, just saying things to say things. How are you
clearly,
feeling out? How are you feeling after? How are you
clearly.
feeling after or post the Elsie Wameo podcast?
Oh
I think it
snap! That
was really
was
good.
last week. I'm so sorry, man. Yeah. That was cool. That was cool. I mean, Elsie is really dope. So that was a good conversation. That was a really good conversation to have. I learned a couple of things. It actually made me look at artists in a different way. Because for some reason, I think if you're not doing a lot of thinking as a fan of music, and you look at artists, it's like once you put an artist in that box, everyone almost operates the same way. It's almost like things that just happening in your periphery and you're not necessarily focused about it. But then sitting down with her is like, wait, artists actually go about their careers in a real different way. And there are
Yeah.
different levels of, like she says, that she's more hands-on in the decisions she makes. So there's other artists who all they want to do is just write the music, record it, and they're gone. So it's interesting. It just that it humanized artists some more, and she's pretty dope too. She's very talented and she's a cool vibe. So yeah, that was cool. That
Nice.
was cool. That was cool. That was
Nice,
cool.
nice.
Look at us, me asking my co-host that we had the interview on. How did you find the interview? I'm
It was
interviewing you
cool.
on
It
our
was cool.
interview.
No, it was cool. I think it was a really good interview, and I think I echo most of your sentiments. So shout out to Elsie for coming through. Yeah, but that
Yeah.
was a big part of my week, preparing for that, and yeah, this week I've really gone back into production. I kind of was uninspired. I'm not gonna lie, for like the past, I want to say 3 weeks,
Oof.
because I had a really intense month period before these 3 weeks where I was really like, how do I describe this? So I feel like as a producer, I'm more of a method actor. Like, that's how I would compare myself. Like, if I was trying to like draw a comparison to a different like genre.
Mm.
So like, I need to engulf myself in whatever it is I'm producing. So I was listening to a bunch of R&B and house jams because that's what I was really like inspired to make. So that was my life. And then I kind of moved, and it required me to like, because the music I make with the artist who I manage is very different. And yeah, people would say, well, okay, why don't you just like use that inspiration to make the R&B stuff, like but like for me, I feel like I need to like just really engulf myself in like the, I don't know, it's even more than music. Like, I need to be consuming content that's aligned to the type of music I'm trying to make. So it's not
Mm.
just music. I need to be on that side of TikTok. I need to be on that side of Instagram. I need to be
Wow.
just fully immersed
Fully.
to
We talked
really
about
tap
that.
into the best stuff.
We did.
We
We
did
talk.
talk
We
about
talk
it
about that, like
with
being
Elsie.
being a sponge as a producer
Yeah,
and as an artist, where you have to. I mean, what you see around you influences how you create. So maybe you do.
it does. And but that doesn't, that's not to say that if I was thrown into a studio session right now and somebody told me make an afro beat, it doesn't mean I can't. I definitely can. But will it be an afro beat that's what I would regard as like, this is really really good? Or if somebody just randomly says make a boom bap
Yeah.
track, I can make boom bap, but like, will it be a track that I'm like proud of? I think I kind of warm up to things. Like, I need to like do it like for like 3 weeks, like, and then that, like, on that third week is when I'm making like my best stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's kind of how
Makes
my
sense.
week has been. I
Makes sense.
feel like I have been rambling.
Makes
Yo, Sam.
sense. So what's up?
Yeah. So that's just kind of how my week has been. Oh, I also went for a, I just went for a small listening. It was like it was an event thing with it was I think it was called Soul Sessions. The organizer is some dude, is a DJ called Rodney Hazard. And yeah, it was just like a very niche spot in Brooklyn, and there were like three artists who were performing. Like I'm telling you, like the people who were there were like not more than 30 people. It was even like
Small and
25 people.
intimate.
Yeah, it was just very small. So I was just there on my A&R bag, like just listening to artists and like seeing how they relate to like a small crowd, and like their, you know, how they're singing and everything. And yeah, man, like one of the artists really really impressed me, and ended up talking to him and getting his details. He was there with his producer, so they're like a duo
Yeah.
almost, because like the producer also was like doing things like during the his performance. So it was one of the like, yo, like sing this, and then he loops it and stuff like that. So it was like a
When it was a
very like,
live joint.
yeah, it was like a live studio session
Yeah.
type of thing, and
Sounds fun.
really really liked it. So yeah, shout out to Chocolate Brown and Segami. Yo, so Sam, I had something on my mind, and I've been having this on my mind for a while. Like it's been bugging me, and I needed a way to like get these thoughts out. And bro, it's the word nostalgia and the role it plays in the music industry.
Sounds
What is nostalgia to you, Sam?
so that sounds like the, what do you call it? The title of a thesis.
Yeah, it
Dissertation.
actually does.
Nostalgia and the role it plays. All right. Nostalgia is cool. Nostalgia is the emotional ties that we have with our past. Nostalgia reminds us of what was and excites us of what could be.
Ooh, reminds us
That's
of what
that's all
was and excites us.
nonsense.
That's nice.
That's all
No, but
rubbish.
that's nice. I like it. It's not rubbish. I actually really like your
Oh, man.
description. So
Anyway.
the word nostalgia was coined in 1968 by Swiss physician Johannes Hofer. Also, I thought 1968 is very recent. I would think like that word would have like deeper history, but
Yeah.
okay. So initially it was attributed to soldiers becoming sick while fighting in foreign lands. Hofer observed the debilitating condition and combined the Greek words nostos, which means homecoming, and algos, which means sorrow, to describe his findings. So apparently, and I'm just now summarizing, so these soldiers would be out in battle, and you know they'd be out there for months and months, for very long periods of time without going back home, and certain things would trigger them, trigger their like emotions and their memories to like want to go back home. So like in this article they said like the sounds of cowbells like in the distance would make certain soldiers really really homesick. And at the time they didn't really have any like description or definition for nostalgia. So they say so now I'm reading, they say it wasn't just sadness or lethargy. They described it as frequent sighs and disturbed sleep that these guys suffered from. They also called it stupidity of the mind, which presented in a similar manner to dementia.
Size and stupidity of the mind. Yeah.
So why am I like
Yes,
digging deep
exactly.
into nostalgia?
Just tell us.
Yeah, so I've realized that in the music industry right now, we are in a period of nostalgia. I've been trying to find what the aesthetic for 2023 and 2024 is, right? Like, what is the music that we're listening to today, right? And I feel like right now, every industry, and it's not just the Kenyan industry, like, it's just in general, the whole world is obsessed with looking back into the past. So there's people who are like, so in Kenya right now, like one of the biggest genres that's popping is urban tone. Urban tone is literally built off of nostalgia.
Mm.
Um, Nikita Kering released a song this week, produced by Cap, I must mention. And that song mimics the early 2000s sound, right? Nostalgia. The way people dress. Right now, we're in a Y2K, late 90s resurgence as a kind of FU to like the skinny jeans of the early 2010s, right?
R.I.P.
Like
skinny
everyone is
jeans,
like,
man.
oh, we're going completely off of that. And now we are into like the Y2K baggy aesthetic and, the glitters and the stickers and the grills that everybody wears. And that's what's in right now, at least for the Gen Zs and I want to say even the millennials. It's looking like the past. When it comes to the media we are consuming, movies and all these type of things, man, like
So
it's a
it's not
bunch of
it's not
m-
only
like
in music. It's
yeah, it's
entertainment in
not only
general,
in
entertainment,
music.
fashion. We're all looking back.
Exactly. We're all looking back. That's what people want to consume. That's what people want to spend their money on. Marvel literally have to resurrect the because bro, every Marvel fan is going
Yeah.
through a period of detachment with the new Marvel films where they're like, this is all
And
rubbish.
they've
And
bombed.
so
They've
Marvel,
all
yeah,
bombed.
they've all really bombed. They've lost all of us. But you see now Marvel had to reach into their bag and bring back who? Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? Playing off of the nostalgia of 2009 when the first Iron Man came out,
Yeah, and that's an
right?
L for them, though. But anyway, that's not our.
It kind of is, but who knows? Listen, I actually don't think it's an L
No, it's
because
not an L financially. They're going to benefit financially. I just feel like it's a weird look to bring off
it is.
someone who you've
Because
already
it's
killed
like,
off.
have you really progressed?
Yeah. And we've seen
You
that we're
know?
seeing that with different we were talking about that, and I don't, in terms of movies and stuff, we don't, the big blockbusters for a long time now have been m- movies remade. Disney has gotten into this whole what's this
Hmm.
period that they're in, live action, um which I mean, it's people love and hate them at the same time. They just announced Lilo and Stitch live action. We are seeing The Incredibles. Apparently, they just announced a third one. It's like we don't have much new stories, and there are many new stories, but they're just not targeting the masses with them, I guess. So it definitely plays into that whole, like,
Yes.
what, I guess, is a question you're trying to find out. What on earth? Why are we so attached
Yeah.
to the past rather than trying to
A-
figure out what's next?
And then when you look at like the artists who are doing well now, it's like there's no new artists who are becoming superstars. I feel like we're still reliant on the people who have already been popping. Like there's nothing new and exciting. Like I remember back in like 2016, 17, like everyone was coming up. Everyone was new and different and fresh and like there was an optimism, like now it's like all those stars who blew up are still the same stars right now. And even the music industry is facing this challenge where it's like people are not consuming new content. Like that's why we even saw the whole boom of like 3 years ago when all the publishing companies were purchasing catalog from back in the day. When it comes to ads and all this media, all of them are relying on old music to push the narrative
Mm.
because that's what will spark people to want to even buy into whatever it is these people keep on selling us. So Sam, my what what do we do, like, because we are in the creative industry, we are creating content, we're making music. What do we do? What do we how do we make, like, how do we thrive in this environment that we're currently in? Do we just follow suit and like create content that's nostalgic? Do we try and innovate? But if you innovate, will people want to consume that content? What do we do? I don't know. That's
My
I don't know. That's just my question.
my well, what do? We There's different ways we can go about it. Um, one of the things I feel like we are missing in this day and age, it sounds so old. One of the things we're missing currently is, and I'm still trying to bake the theory. It's not fully baked, but I feel like we have superstars, but we don't have
Yeah.
superstars that push the envelope in terms of creativity. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we rely on, and I do understand we're in a very weird period in history where all the older, maybe 10, 20 years ago, the people who were doing great things are still around, right? And they're still producing. But then we're also trying to find new people. So, and it's even in sports, it's a weird spot we are in history, which
Yeah.
is really great because we can see, we've seen really amazing people do great things, but then it's not been like 50 years ago. It's like 10 years at most, and we've all been here for it. So it's a very weird place in history we are, and that also plays into the music. Some of our musical greats are still releasing music, but we're also trying to fight for new artists. Uh, there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing else we can do. I do think it's a social trend. I think it's a social trend. I think it has happened before. And so we go through periods of nostalgia where we coast on
Yeah.
what was, and then like what I think should happen is we get a couple of geniuses, a couple of uh, people who are doing things differently and bold with it, and then they now push the culture in a different direction, and then now everyone follows that.
We need that.
Yeah.
But it's scary though. Like, because I feel like people feel that if they innovate and come up with things that are just so left and off kilter, that you wouldn't go very far.
Part of the problem I think is, and I don't want to have to turn it into like capitalism, but I feel like I don't know whether we are more not slaves. Slaves is not the right word, but we are more cognizant of the money, and how our art affects the money than the art itself. And so that means that if the labels or whoever say this is the road to go in, or they even hint, they don't have to say it. They could just hint at it, give it a little bit, show us what they value in terms of
Yeah.
attention. People are because people are assigned to the labels and they want to recoup, and it's just a big web, or it's a messy ball of just strings jumbled up together. So what will happen is now we're all going to try and follow that, because ultimately what we have learned is, ultimately when it comes to the pop scene, in whatever, in the movies era, in fashion and in
Mm-hmm.
music, when it comes to the pop scene, ultimately uh, money speaks loudest, right? And it's
Yeah.
only in the niche. When you go into the niche, you go into the rooms, the darker rooms, you go into the underground. That's when you see more innovation and more freedom in terms of creativity. But when you that freedom, once it starts pushing out of the mainstream, if the money holders don't consider it important enough, they are not that you're going to hit a glass ceiling, and all you're doing is looking up, looking at what could be, but you can't move past that. We need disruptors. That's
Yeah.
what we need disruptors. And I don't know if it's a hot take, but I also feel the same way for the Kenyan industry. I feel like we need disruptors. I feel like we've done things, like you
But
said,
what
with the
does
whole
that look like?
with the whole gangeton thing, where I mean urban tone, sorry. Even gangeton to some extent is relying on genge, the nostalgia of genge, right?
No, but no. But when Abanton started popping off, it
Yeah,
was kind of disruptive.
it was. It was. But it's disruptive not on merit of its own. It's disruptive on merit of what was still with the genge, with the previous genge songs that were there. Now, of course,
So my question
nothing like
is,
there's
Sam.
again there's nothing new under the sun. So the new things will have elements of the old things. But
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know your question.
No. You are answering it. Like, so what does the new thing look like? What does disruptive thing look
We
like?
need crazies. We need crazies. We need people who are unashamed to do something different and be so bold about it that they don't care. It's the crazy people that are always followed. It's the crazy ones that always garner attention. What we're doing here is we're clamoring for attention, all doing the same old things, which is understandable because money money is involved.
And also nobody wants to like it's just a human thing where you don't really you want to feel like you're part of a group,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
You don't wanna stick out and
You don't want
not
to stick out because it's a
be
risk. It's a risk.
accepted.
Yeah, it's a risk. You take a risk and you're doing something completely different. And like Kanye West, right? Kanye West back then, he was one of the only producers who started rapping. And people are looking at it. We even saw it in his documentary. Like people are like, "What? I don't know. I don't know about this, right?" But then that pushed the mold forward. It was something completely different and something he took a risk because he would have been sidelined by industries. I mean, by the labels, which he was. They looked at him like, okay, this is kind of weird. This is crazy, and they didn't pay attention to him. And they were listening to hits that later on became hits. But then at the time, it was seen as a weird thing. We need people and again in the Kenyan industry, I feel like we need people who are unashamed to push. We're very comfortable with the sounds we have and the type of artists we have. We have different corners. We have the drill hip hop corner. We have the Afrobeat corner. We have the soul generation sound corner. We have, we have basic corners, which is not bad. That's where we are. But we also need people who are like interested in doing completely different things. And I think they're there. Part of the problem is that the consumers of whatever it is, we're probably not, our antennas are not up in that way. I think we're comfortable also. The consumers are comfortable, which makes the artist comfortable, which makes the art comfortable.
Okay, so I receive that.
Receive
I
and
was looking
internalize.
at I was looking at an article about why or what makes music nostalgic, and one of the reasons is emotional connection, because music can tap into our emotions. When we associate a particular song or piece of music with a significant event, person, or period in our lives, those emotions we felt during that time become inherently linked to the music. I remember, for example, for me, when I was 8, my whole family and like my cousins, my extended family, we all went to a trip to Naivasha.
Yeah.
Or we went on a trip to Naivasha for a weekend. And for some reason, these two songs were played by my older cousins and everything on repeat the whole time. It was Heya by Outkast.
Oh, that's a
and
giant.
it was Clubbing by Marcus Houston and Joe Budden.
Wait, I don't remember
Those
that
two
one.
songs.
Pause.
I don't know if you remember
Clubbing.
Clubbing. Like Up in the Club.
Oh yeah. Oh, Marcus Houston had the whole. Yeah, he had his own period, man. And who? Joe Budden.
Maybe Up in the Club.
Oh,
Anyway,
wait, Joe Budden was on that song.
Joe Budden was on that
Ew.
song. Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
Gross.
And then also I remember that was the first time I listened to it was the Beyonce album with that song with her and Sean Paul is
Yeah.
I'm forgetting what it's
I know what
called.
you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I absolutely
Yeah.
dislike that song. but I know
So
what you're talking
whenever I listen to those songs, because that trip was so nice. That trip we had to Naivasha was so nice. Like listening to those songs just puts me in a very good mood for no reason aside from that. And I just can't like tell you why. Like immediately I hear
Baby
even
boy.
the instrumentals.
Baby
to
boy,
those
you
songs,
stay
I'm
on
just
my mind.
yeah, Baby Boy. Yes, bro, baby. Whenever I hear that
Oh,
psalm,
Who produced that
it's a
joint?
feeling
That's a
that I
banger.
do not get from music of today. Like I can never feel those feelings from music of today.
Yeah.
So emotional connection is one. Memory recall is number two, which is essentially what we've just talked about. Cultural and generational identity. Music often plays a crucial role in defining cultural and generational identities. People tend to connect with the music of their youth which becomes intertwined with their sense of self and belonging. So that's kind of what we talked about. And then the last reason is temporal context, which is music is often tied to specific periods and trends. When we hear a song from a particular era, it can transport us back to that time and place, providing a glimpse into the cultural, social, and personal context of that period, which is why urban tone really thrives, or thrived when it was like at its peak.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't know like what.
There's no way we can get around it, I don't think. I think like I said, I think it's part of just
But
cultural waves.
Sam,
It's part of cultural waves. Yeah.
not to not to interrupt you, but I am
You
interrupting you as I
interrupted me.
say that. Bro, in 10 years, when we look back at 2024 and 2023 and we say, what were we like? How can we describe that period? Are we gonna say, "Oh, 2023 and 2024 were the times when we looked back to the early 2090s"? Like, does
Yeah.
this period not have an identity of
Do you
itself
think do, do you think, because your question has just triggered something in my mind, do
or
you
of its
think
own?
that the art in itself is not as nostalgic? I mean, it doesn't strike as emotional a chord as the ones back that like a Baby Boy did when it came out. Do you think like people are not as invested emotionally into the different art pieces? We're talking about music, so the different music, the different songs, albums, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and even the artists themselves that come out today. Do you think that's part of it, or is that a weird theory?
Yeah. So the rationale I can't find the particular article I was reading, but the rationale is that apparently right now, like we're living in a bit of a difficult period, like coming off of COVID, which was very stressful
Very
for
stressful. Goodness.
everyone. And then
Yikes.
economically, like it's been a challenge. Like everybody knows right now, like money is hard to come by. So everybody's just out there grinding, trying to figure out a way to make ends meet. And then obviously there's the political landscape that we have in Kenya right now. Very, 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 very hostile. So it's like people don't even have time to like consume this music, like new stuff that is, and enjoy it like they did back in the day when problems seemed less than they are now. So it's like music back then, we were just consuming it to consume it and things were fine ish, and that's why we kind of associate those periods more positively, and we gravitate more towards the music coming out from that time. I mean, if you ask any millennial or older Gen Z, like about the time when they listened to Boomba Train for the first time, or things like that, or that nature, or Kina Nameless, like it just all of them will kind of talk about their primary school like experience and this and that, and it's usually with a tinge of like fondness. I guess it's maybe because back then we had nothing to worry about, like
Mm.
realistically, we weren't paying taxes or this or that. Like, I don't know, man. So I feel like right now, to answer your question, people aren't consuming new content like that. Like people just want to go back to a time when they felt safe and happy and carefree. And that's what all the brands, all the musicians, all the media houses have picked up on. And I feel like that's just why everything we are consuming today is nostalgia
Yeah.
based. And that's also why there are no new big artists being
I
born.
was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about yeah. I was just thinking like we don't have even the hits. The hits are not traveling like they used to. Songs are not
At
are not like,
all.
I look back and see videos of Michael Jackson and people fainting when he came out and he did that weird crutch dance that he does, and
Mhm.
they're screaming their lungs out and fainting. I've not seen recently people fainting for different reasons because of the heat and stuff. It's not just because of the artist, and you just think like that. We're not seeing stardom and art get to the heights that
No.
it used to get. Even here in Kenya, I mean, on going back to days of like Unbogable, and that stuff crossed borders, crossed state lines. It traveled like with Eric Wainaina and all of them. Those
Yeah.
songs moved. Even Kleptomaniacs, like a lot of the songs were hard, like, but these days it just seems a lot more. It just feels smaller.
Like Sam, look, okay, we're looking outside of the Kenyan industry. Like back in the day, like 2010, 11, when Kendrick Lamar and like
Yeah.
J. Cole were coming up, right? Like, when is the last time we had artists who are like now bubbling up and you just know these are gonna be like
Yeah.
huge stars like of the future? Like, when is the last time you saw an artist like that and you're like, oh,
they're
person
going to
is going to
destroy.
have longevity and like they're going to just like, you know what I mean, like dominate. Like nowadays it's like
It's
everything
little
is like
fires.
in
It's
and
little
out.
fires. We see an artist pop off.
You'll see
Yeah.
a Jack Harlow.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
go
just
ahead,
trying to say
sorry.
exactly what you're saying. It's little fires. We see an artist pop off, and then after 2-3 months, maybe a year or two, they're done. It's done for. It's
And it's like all the older statesmen are just retaining
Yeah.
their position. Like, we'll still listen to Caesar, but there's no R&B act who is like coming up who are like, okay, there's multiple ones who are coming up for sure, but like there's no one who's like, who has just that like umami, that
Umami?
what's the word I'm looking- that sauce.
umami.
Yeah.
Where did umami come from, man?
It's like a Japanese.
I know
Anyway.
umami. It's just really random.
Yeah,
Umami.
it's yeah, I know. Sorry, but there's no one who has that like.
I know. I know
thing.
what you're
Even in the
saying.
Kenyan industry right
very
now,
safe.
they all just feel very temporary.
very-
like even like when Boutros was coming up, although his come up has not even been that long. It's been like, although he has been grinding
2-3 years.
but like
He's been grinding for
I
a
would
long
say
time.
it's in the past 4 years when things have really like scaled up. Like I'm not seeing like a new kid on the block who I'll be like.
You know who
"Oh,
I
that guy's
thought? You know
gonna
who I
be
thought
like-"
it would be? Who I thought was going to push us towards that direction? Chris Kaiga, and then he kind of went quiet.
He takes too many hiatuses, but like whenever he does come out, but I think he was teasing new music.
It
Like,
definitely felt
whenever
like he
comes
had.
out, bro, the support is insane.
Yeah, he felt like he had what it takes, like in terms of the new school, to like push boundaries. But it's stuff like that. I don't know what it is. We need a sociologist on this.
Because all
It's
the new guys just feel like they'll be here today, gone tomorrow, bro. Like, why? So we just keep on being in this loop where we're relying on the old.
we need new people.
things.
We need people who are willing to.
We need new people doing new things. That's what we need. We don't need new people trying to like hop on trends. Not hop on trends, but like new people trying to sell us the past by sampling music from the past. Like, I want to hear something new. Like, I've never had this in my life. I don't know what is going on right
Exactly.
now. And I want it to evoke an emotion in me where it's like, do I even like this or hate it? But it's new. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do think there's
that.
people who we do. I think there's people who probably feel that way about the music that's been released today. We can't speak for everyone, but I think what we're saying is valid.
That's true.
And if you just look at the general trend in terms of the music and the kind of stuff that the labels are prioritizing and the movie studios are prioritizing and all that business, it just shows that we are very reliant on what we already have currently and what has worked for us. What has worked, what we've put money into, and it has proved dividends. And now we're just like, all right, let's figure out new ways to just finesse that. But we need new geniuses. We need new crazy people.
We need new crazy people. I
We
like
need new
it.
crazy people. Anyway, that's a good conversation, man. That's a good convo.
It is.
That's a good convo. Yeah.
What else was happening in the news? Well, that wasn't really news.
That wasn't news. No,
like
it's just
a
thoughts.
thing.
That's quick thoughts. Quick 5-hour thoughts. I just really random. I mean, just keeping it again very chill, very light. Not much happened in the news, but I saw an article.
Yeah.
I saw an article, a very fun article, about how much our beloved Suda, why am I saying it like that? Why am I saying it like he's my family member? How much he charges for songwriting, and like the prices he charges, which was super interesting to me. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't even just about Suda that I mean Bensoul that triggered my mind. I was like, when I saw those numbers, I started thinking about my brain automatically went into pocket watching. Like, what on earth, what do other artists charge? Like Bensoul said, all right, he said he charges around 200k
to
to
write
yeah
for
for songwriting
songwriting.
alone. And I think this is songwriting where he charges the money and then he writes the song and gives it to you, and you can do whatever you want with it. He doesn't ask for nothing. From what I got, that I might be wrong though. And he says that he's aspiring to get to like
No, you're
five.
right. You're right because he
Yeah,
described them as one-offs. So
one-offs.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like yeah,
Which I don't know if that's how it's supposed to go, but
it's not.
yeah, you need to collect on the back end. And but we know the Kenyan industry. So and then he wants to charge 500 and even more, 500,000 and even more, which is interesting. Now I have a question for you, Afam. I know you're not the
Yes,
biggest, biggest like, that's not what you gravitate to. Let me not put you under the spot like
not
that.
really.
Do you think that's like when you look at, if I just came to you randomly on a Wednesday afternoon and said, what do you think Bensoul charges for songwriting? What would you have told me?
I would not have told you this. I wouldn't have told you 200,000 to do a songwriting thing.
Is
I
this is
because
this
I've
higher or lower than what you would have thought?
interesting. Okay,
Mm,
I'm gonna say higher.
okay.
Um, because I know how hard it is to get people to pay you things in the industry.
Oh, so you're
It's
functioning.
like
Your thought is just like we don't pay each other much over here, so it
no,
might be like,
nope.
yeah,
Having an artist pay you 200 G's to write a song in Kenya, even the top brass, they don't like to spend like that. Like I don't know what else to tell you. Like they just don't.
yeah.
But do I think 200,000 is a high number? I don't. Actually, I think it's a low
It's really
number.
low, isn't it?
I do. I think it's a very low
It's
number
like
because
two
if you look
thousand
at it in
dollars.
dollars,
Yeah,
yeah, it's less than 2,000. It's probably like $1,800. If you come to this industry, right, in the American industry, and you say, "Yo, I was charging people 1,800 to write songs," they'll be like,
yeah,
"Oh, okay, you're a kid. You're still, yeah, go you. You're hustling." You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like at the oh my god, you're charging. You know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm.
for us here, we look at 200,000 and we're like, damn, he's
That's a
making
lot.
bank.
Yeah,
It's
he
not really like, and
it's
then
not
him being
much.
like, what does he said? Now after 2022, he charges a flat rate of $2,800 to be booked,
For sure.
or
Yeah,
4,500
as
if he's
part of
part of
Soul Generation. Wait,
Soul
that's
Gen.
interesting. He's higher when he's
That's
part in a group. That's
Sam.
how does that work?
Charging 2,800 for a booking is chump change. That's what the underground artists over here, like the kids,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
19-year-old underground artist who is not popping at, like in the mainstream. And
Exactly. They have a
well, I've
couple of
just
SoundCloud listeners.
I've literally just described what underground is. But like, yeah, has a couple of SoundCloud hits and has like a burgeoning fan base.
Yeah,
They charge more than 2,800 for a booking. I'm sorry,
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
true. Like they will charge. They can. So this is not to shit on our industry. It's kind of just like it's a our economy is just not where it needs to be. Like we have a long way to
In
go
terms
because
exactly in terms of
these
the
are
paying
numbers
out,
that
yeah.
yeah. No, go ahead.
In terms of the paying out, no, you're saying that these are the numbers that we're seeing are very. Of course, here within the industry, we are looking at it like, oh, this is kind of crazy. Like he talks about for his last album, the party, the
Yeah.
party and the after party. He talks about just the production alone being 1.5 million. That's $10,000, I think, around. More give or less, give or take a few. Again, if we look at the production of an artist, now what I'm doing in my mind is I'm taking Bensoul and sort of placing him on a scale and then like duplicating it to another country and seeing what the artists who would be on the same scale in terms of popularity and
Yeah.
chart hits and all
And
that business would
perception.
be. Yeah, and then see what they would charge kind of. When we look at that, Kenya is a very small,
very
our
small.
economy is tiny. Our economy is like an island economy. It's not.
Because of the way we perceive Bensoul, we perceive him as being close to the Sauti Soul level, right?
Yeah. One of the highest earners. Yeah.
That's how that's the general perception. But then when you see these numbers, like I feel like everyone will see these numbers and think, "Ooh, that's decent." But it's not. It's actually less than what somebody who we perceive to be on that level should be demanding. But you see, the thing is, the supply isn't there. So
true, and people we know it's a thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like it goes back to what I was saying. People will not pay for creatives and all this type of stuff. So even though I'm saying these numbers are low, even these low numbers
are high.
Getting people to book you for these low
and
numbers
pay on time
is so difficult to do.
We have and this is, I mean, this might, we won't get into this part of the conversation, but it's something that really annoys me is, and I've experienced this in myself, where we have currently experiencing now, we have situations where the economy, we could do. See, what happens is where the industry grows by us doing bigger and better things. And when we have a lot of artists who are at the top, we have a lot of artists, and I don't want to start ranting, but we have a lot of people in the top, and I've had stories from many different people who, when there's an opportunity for the whole industry to just elevate a little bit, just take the next step, there's just a weird things that keep us in the same position, and we don't open up the opportunities to each other and pay as we should. And like if Bensoul writes a song for you now, okay, he's Bensoul, so he has like artist X, Lil, what's his face, writes a song for you now, right? And they're like, I charge 200K for a song. If he's not known, the amount of stress it will take for that bro to get his money, those are some of the things that we don't necessarily see keeping us down in the industry. But if you look at other industries, they're almost, of course, finessing happens all around, right? But then they're almost standards that we have to maintain as an industry, and that just elevates us. We don't do that a lot here. Here, it's a lot of, it's a lot of brother agreements. It's a lot of handshakes. It's a lot of, don't worry, we've got you. Don't worry, you're going to get your money 5 years later. Oh man, we didn't pay you that. Oh, let me talk to my guys right now. I'll hit you back up. It's nonsense.
And you see now the problem is, like, so now Bensoul will go to these guys, like shows and stuff, like he'll say, I'm worth $2,800 for a show,
and they'll start negotiating like it's toy.
Some of these people will start negotiating, and then you see now this is why now you have to contend with reality, because now Bensoul will look at it and say, there's just nobody out here willing to pay me what I'm worth. First of all, I think 2,800 is even less than what he's worth. Yeah. But anyway, so now he'll look around and see there's no one willing to
let
pay
me lower it. Let me bring it down.
So he's going to lower it. But see, the problem with that is now the next time, okay, I'm just gonna use a functional example. Who still makes like Bensoul type music, who's kind of smaller than Bensoul. If I was about to get you in practical will I get
Let me
in
not
trouble?
do that. No, I said I was about to say a name and get you in trouble. Let me not do that. Let me.
Okay,
oh,
like
my gosh.
Can I use it? Okay, who can I
someone.
use? Now you've made me. Okay,
look,
Kinoti,
you're overthinking
for example,
it.
Right?
You're overthinking
I think
it.
Kinoti. I think Kinoti is although it's not really in the same lane as Bensoul, but we'll just use Kinoti for now, right?
Yeah.
Now, if Kinoti, so now because Bensoul is not being paid what he's worth, instead of being paid $2,800 for a booking, and because people will just not want to pay you that much, because people don't fuck with paying creatives what they're worth, especially
value
in Kenya.
the art.
He will have to lower it down to like 1,800, right?
Yeah.
And so now those same people might want Kinoti on a different tip, and they'll be like, but we paid Bensoul 1,800.
Oh, I hate
no
that
way
so
we're paying
much.
you anything close.
I hate that
right?
so much.
So now what will happen is everybody starts making less and less money, like
exactly
because the people at the top
our economy doesn't grow.
Exactly, because the people at the top also have no choice but to take these lowballed things.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And then Kinoti's team is calling Bensoul's team. How much did you guys charge? And of course, Bensoul's team is not going to give him
yeah,
the exact amount because there's also
gatekeeping.
this weird. And okay, and now I'm using their names, but I mean,
No,
yeah,
but
there's
you're not talking
gatekeeping and
about them.
just
You're just talking
weird,
about like
weird stuff.
in general. Yeah.
Exactly. So team I mean A is going to call team B and be like, fam, yo, what did you guys charge? Then team B knows they charged 300K for a show. But they're going to be like, man, I want to be the only one earning 300,000. So you know what? I'm going to tell them I charged 220. And then team B is going to be like, oh, that the other guys like, oh, you charged 220. Man, I don't think I'm at that level. Then they'll now go and pitch it. And then it's just we're just anti-progress. That's what we are. It's just anti-progress. Our music economy is short because people are not valuing art. I think one way it changes, because we can complain about, but one of the solutions is once people start looking at art and valuing art correctly and stop haggling for prices like they're buying nyanya from the side of the street, and just actually pay people what they are. Imagine if producers are being paid what they're worth in the front end and the back end. Imagine if artists, songwriters are being paid exactly what they're worth. That automatically raises the value of creativity, because it could do two things. One, it will see that people, I mean, more exposure where now in the West, I mean, the other countries start looking and they're like, oh, let's get this person, let's get this person, let's get this person. And then they'll go out and they'll perform really well. Or that will happen and then they'll go out and they'll perform very badly. Then they'll realize, oh, man, my valuation shouldn't be that high. So then it will like self-adjust,
Yeah.
and that properly helps us value our economy. But if we're out here gatekeeping, we're out here just trying to finesse each other and it's me and mine, we're never going to get to a point where the industry's economy grows.
Yeah.
I
You're
didn't
right.
mean that to turn into a rant.
No, but
But
it's absolutely
I think that
right.
was a natural progression.
And it's a frustrating
It is. It is.
thing about our industry.
I wonder how many ghost writers we have. And because I saw some of the people he writes for, and I'm just like, wow, I wouldn't have put those together. But anyway,
Yeah.
now I have to do some deep sea diving into the world of hidden collaborators. Anyway, let's talk about music, man.
Yeah, let's dive into the world of new releases, bro.
You just had to.
I had to. I have to. It's my brand
You go
at this
first.
point. Okay, I'll go first. So I listened to Bad Side by Zinnia Manasseh. Still releasing consistently. Shout out to Zinnia. I feel like her music is, she has a very, very particular sound, which she does and
Yeah.
executes very well. And I don't know if I have the right place to say this, but I'm excited to hear Xenia on, or just like on a different tip, like a different, like, just I want to hear her on a different bop, a different vibe. I want to
Yeah.
hear something like, because I
Experiment
know
a
she
bit more.
does this sound and she does it very well, and it's, you
Yeah.
know what I mean, like she does it very well. But I want to hear and experience her in a different context. So yeah, that's just my only thoughts from really listening to Bad Side. Did you want to add
No, yeah, I'm with
anything?
you. I'm with you on that. I think
Yeah.
I do understand that. I mean, people have their brands, and again, I think it goes back to what which is sort of what we talked about. Where you want. It's I don't call what she's doing safe because I don't know, obviously, and I don't know what she has planned coming out. But then from what we've heard, it's just like we it's almost like I expect her to give me what she's given, right? With
Yeah.
the previous releases. And my thing is, I would like to hear Zinnia with features, different,
Yes, we need
more
more
features on
features.
tracks. Like maybe that would create like a little bit of a difference in terms of what she does. She does what she does really well. Like we can't complain about that. The harmonies and the songwriting is brilliant. But then I also want to see her sort of push her own boundaries a little bit, to see what she can come up with. It's definitely not hate. I think it's more coming out of the side that we really enjoy that music and want to see how much more can come out of it. So
yeah. So there was that. There was Tonight by Nikita Kering, produced by Cap, which we talked about earlier in the podcast. Very 2000s sound. I think there's gonna be a remix with Lil Minor in the pipeline. I listened to that. There was Nairobi Streets by Bridget Blue and Calligraph Jones. I feel like this song came out and then was taken down a few weeks ago.
It
Um,
was. It was.
yeah,
I think there were, and it's something I've noticed. This is just a side point. It's something I've noticed a lot where we have a lot of like administrative bloopers in music. I've seen a couple
yeah.
of different artists do this where they've released songs and taken them down
I've
and then
done
release
it.
them later
I've
on.
done it this year as well.
It's craziness. Yeah, but not
Some
on the release day. Like take it down before. Oh wait, yeah, you
no,
have.
I have. It was a
Yeah,
blooper.
you need to get that right, man. Like
We
it looks
do.
messy. It looks like
It,
a mess. We don't
it's
see that from
not
big
only does it
artists except
look
Kanye
messy,
West.
it is messy. So it's definitely
Yeah.
something we need to improve on.
Nairobi Streets though, remix with Calgrave Jones.
Yep. Then I listened to things no. Let me leave that for you. I listened to Life is Sweet by Willie Paul. I listened to this was a revelation. I don't know too much about Elisha Wasaga, and he released a song called Awino, and I was in love with that stuff, bro. What a revelation! Really, really strong
What?
vocals.
Yeah.
So shout out to Elisha. I don't know how to pronounce his name yet, but I really enjoyed that listen. What else did I listen to? I listened to Keys of Africa by Alex Breitling and Nesmburu. He also dropped a song. Nesmburu also dropped a song called Fungue this week. So the boy is working. Did I listen to anything else? Yeah, For You by Keithan. Really, really dig the production on that one. Yeah, that's what I was listening to. How about yourself?
Yeah. Let me see. Just a couple of releases. So one thing I really like is the work ethic. Kalabawiti is a budding. Oh, some might say he's a budded R&B-ish act, and he's been releasing he released a project 2 months ago, and he's back with an EP called Things I Should Have Said. Kalabawiti is interesting. I think his production value in terms of like the beats and stuff is going high. I still think that maybe he might, and I'm not saying this with hate. It's fam. I think this is a side note. I think we're in a weird position where when you criticize music, people don't like being criticized because whenever you say anything that's not overwhelmingly positive, you turn into a hater, and that's definitely not what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So take what we say with a grain of kosher Himalayan pink salt.
Ooh.
His production is becoming a lot better. I think that in terms of I think his vocal production also could elevate. But he has a sound he's going for. Like we can clearly see what he's trying to do, and I think if he puts a lot more work into it, he'll be there. But maybe it just takes more drops, and he's definitely dropping a lot. So shout out to him on that. The legend Eric Wainaina released. I don't know how to pronounce that. UKE. The U has a little nunu on top of
It's
it.
okay.
Uke.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, look at you. Thanks for correcting me. That was interesting. Produced by him and M3. It's those two have been collaborating for a long time, so it's cool to see that. That was interesting. Willie Paul. Now, Willie Paul. This is going to sound like hate, but Willie Paul's songs almost all have that same chord progression. I don't know whether he's doing it knowingly. Maybe he's also playing into nostalgia. But it's that same, like when you listen to it, you know, this is Pose. This is exactly what maybe he also needs to venture out of that little box and try something different. I don't know. Afam is quiet over there so that I can get in trouble myself.
No.
No.
I'm here with you. I'm here on the ledge with you.
Very quietly. There's a band I really enjoy. I don't know how much light they get, but they're called Jabali Africa. They released a song called Serereo Coco. I think it's part of a project actually. Yeah, it's part. Oh, yeah, it's a whole project. I didn't know that. I need to go listen to that now. An 8-song project. I really enjoy their music. It's like reggae music. It's cool. I don't know. It's for me. So that was fun. LA Vibes, I just discovered today while going through new music. I had not heard of him before, but LA Vibes released a 3-pack for us. I think it caught my attention because I saw an artist that we know called Kim Life on the cover. So he lists Cinnamon, Baller, and Bye Bye. Baller with Kim Life, which is interesting. I enjoyed the Bye Bye and I think the joint with Kim Life. It's pretty. He's never heard of him before. He
Okay,
seems pretty
clear
new,
the space
but
for me. LA Vibes, I hope you're listening
boy.
right now. LA Vibes, you have
Yikes.
made me
That's not why I
very,
brought this up.
very upset. LA Vibes made me actually, honestly, it annoyed me now. Listen, very talented. I listened to the songs. Well, I listened to 2 songs from that 3-pack. He has amazing vocals. He really does that Afrobeat sound very well. But please, please don't choose a name
Afam
like
is
LA
begging.
Vibes. Honestly, I'm sorry, I'm sure it means a lot to him. I know that
Yeah.
it probably has a lot of sentimental value to him, but I'm sorry. When it comes to branding, nobody is going to find LA Vibes. It's
Yeah.
just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You'll type LA Vibes on all the platforms, and you're just gonna find
It's
other things.
I
LA
actually
Vibes
did.
is.
I
I'm
went on
pretty sure
platforms
LA
to
Vibes
check
is a
and I didn't
shop
find
somewhere
him.
in LA or something. Like it's. You know what I mean?
Might be a shop somewhere in Nairobi.
Bro, it's frustrating. I'm trying to look for you, man, so I can support you. See your Instagram page, maybe even listen to more music, but I cannot find you because you've chosen
It's a branding
such an
disaster.
obscure
Yeah.
name, and that
It's
frustrates
not
me
good
because
for
I'm
such
genuinely just trying to help. You know what I mean? Or just like
engine
support. So
optimization. Yeah.
please, 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 please choose names that are
Unique.
even use your own name, man. Use your own
Yeah.
names. Way better than using a name like LA Vibes. Nobody's going to find you. Anyway, that's just like.
Yep. Hire Afam for
Yeah.
your branding and
Please. I'm broke.
Yes,
so
please hire him.
I'd love.
Oh no. That's I was making a joke, and here you go being serious. But yeah, no, I definitely second that. It's going to be different. Like when I saw the song, I was like, oh, I've not heard of this guy before. Let me go in. And I went to Instagram, and it took me a while. And I was like, okay, you know what? I think I gave up at some point. Definitely, what you choose as your names and how you brand yourself definitely helps you make waves. You can't go with a name to LA Vibes to LA. Like let's say you're called to perform. It's just going to be. You're not going to stand out. So, I don't know. Take it or leave it. We don't know. We're just 2 guys talking. Yeah. Do you want to go into our pick?
Yes, sir,
Our
man.
pick for the
Let's
week.
go.
Buruklyn Boyz and Afam. Do you want to?
Oh,
We had a whole
okay.
thing.
So before the podcast, we went through a lot of back and forth because I was telling Sam, this is the second verse is obviously not Mr. Right. And then because the thing is because of the
Buruklyn
way
Boyz is AJ and Mr. Right.
it is. And
Yeah.
because of the way they attributed the credits and stuff, like it's just looks like it's Mr. Right and AJ on the song, but it's not.
Yeah.
The second verse is actually Buruklyn G, which I found out not too long ago. And yeah, so I love the song. It's just like I was like, wait, this is not Mr. Right. Like, what's happening here? Because it's confusing. Because when you just click on Buruklyn Boyz' profile, you expect
Yeah.
to listen to the both of them. Anyway, that aside, that song is so fire, man. The production is hard. Like,
It's hard drill.
yeah, man. Like, and AJ.
It's almost what we expect from them, but it's still fire.
No, honestly, I think that's one of AJ's best performances on a track. I'm not even capping. Like, I really, really love that performance from AJ, honestly. Had a lot of one-liners that were funny. The whole Cardi B Offset line, the whole something drill digest line. That was dope. AJ is fire. So I listened to this, and then Sam and I were just on the same wavelength because we were like, what song do we want to play today? And we both were like, this is fine.
Better songs this week.
Yeah, so
let's rock with that. Let's rock with it.
So, Sam, for the end of the podcast, I think we're in agreement. We should play Kwao by Buruklyn Boyz, with the asterisk being it's AJ and Buruklyn G.
Salvo to the world and back.
Cheki, tumesukuma ma-ounce na bado ma-pounds. Na bro amepigiwa rounds. Mambo ni vula, inoma kwa ground, anaingia orosho kipatana nao. Cheki, hawako sai tunatembelea Kwao. Exangu alidhani neza kuwa mabao. Saini na beef na watu wa Kwao. Tumesukuma ma-ounce na bado ma-pounds. Na bro amepigiwa rounds. Mambo ni vula, inoma kwa ground, anaingia orosho kipatana nao. Hawako sai tunatembelea Kwao. Exangu alidhani neza kuwa mabao. Saini na beef na watu wa Kwao. Namba uno mi huanywaku Keka basi coke fest. Kwa stu bro Johnny na mashup. Utadhani kwa soul fest. Baby zinkipiga mashow. Hizi guap na collect. Karibika sit na fix. Anything tuna correct. Oh boy ni me. Tutadrilla dio digest. A shot to patane off net. Min komboka. Niko on set. Shoka DB. Chali yake ako offset. Tumesukuma ma-ounce na bado ma-pounds. Na bro amepigiwa rounds. Mambo ni vula, inoma kwa ground, anaingia orosho kipatana nao. Cheki, hawako sai tunatembelea Kwao. Exangu alidhani neza kuwa mabao. Saini na beef na watu wa Kwao. Tumesukuma ma-ounce na bado ma-pounds. Na bro amepigiwa rounds. Mambo ni vula, inoma kwa ground, anaingia orosho kipatana nao. Hawako sai tunatembelea Kwao. Exangu alidhani neza kuwa mabao. Saini na beef na watu wa Kwao.
Sai mina beef no watu kathao. On the real, no fucking around. Enda pushi P my G, mina win. Hot like fire na build for the streets. Na mina dreams za kupata mamil. Man on a mission, top of the hill. Check your squad ku fly all week. Plus, our size on fleek, trust. Ilibidi ni pics, tulifollow up na majika 6. Up na nimshota na kakajit. F4 total idhani na mdig. Akapata na mrusha kwa click. BMT niko gassed up na hits. Daily nina visions, I'm on my peak.
Tumesukuma ma-ounce na bado ma-pounds. Na bro amepigiwa rounds. Mambo ni vula, inoma kwa ground, anaingia orosho kipatana nao. Cheki, hawako sai tunatembelea Kwao. Exangu alidhani neza kuwa mabao. Saini na beef na watu wa Kwao. Tumesukuma ma-ounce na bado ma-pounds. Na bro amepigiwa rounds. Mambo ni vula, inoma kwa ground, anaingia orosho kipatana nao. Hawako sai tunatembelea Kwao. Exangu alidhani neza kuwa mabao. Saini na beef na watu wa Kwao. Kwa nini kesho? Sikia, kwa nini? Kwa nini? Kwa nini? Kwa nini? Kwa nini kesho? Kesho, kesho. Namba uno. Buruklyn G. Kwa nini? Sikia, Velvet flavor.
Salvo to the world and back.
That was Kwao by Buruklyn Boyz. Really, really fire. I think the production, I think it's like one of those like BeatStars like beats, because I don't think it's produced by a Kenyan. Because
we
of
don't
the
know.
tags
We don't,
I
and
heard.
why don't we know?
Because there's no
the
credits.
credits.
So
Can't keep
anyway,
this
I don't know.
2024. It's 2024. Like it's 2024. Like we need to see some credits.
I know.
That's the least we
Please,
could do.
let's be crediting these things up, man. But yeah, shout out to AJ and Buruklyn G and yo Sam, episode 91.
That's a 91, man. Wrapped, done, and dusted.
Done and dusted. Yo, guys, I know I like to push the 3 C's at the end of the podcast, which I will just run through really quickly. Be confident in your art, guys. Always be confident. That's what sells your art. Be consistent, because the more consistent you are, the more you're in people's faces, the more people will remember, oh, there's this guy who makes music. And lastly, always work on your craft. Whatever it is, you always need to be improving. Sam.
Yeah. And the last one, it's not a C, but take your own advice.
That is very crucial. Bro, have you ever been like giving a friend relationship
Take your own advice.
and you're like so objective? And
I do that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But then when it comes to your own like situation, like
Your own relationship, your situation is in shambles.
it's in shambles and
man.
stuff like that. So it's like take your own advice sometimes, and because sometimes it's easy to just like say things
Say things. Yep.
also, but
Talk
then
is
you
cheap.
also need to internalize the things you're saying.
Fact is expensive.
But thank you guys so much for listening and supporting the podcast. Again, you can find us on all the streaming platforms, and you can watch us on YouTube. And
I want to shout out. I want to shout out a new one that we got into. Sorry.
Yes.
We got into the Wazo platform. Wazo is like I think it's a Kenyan. The reason I'm shouting is because it's a Kenyan based podcast platform, and like all the podcasts are on there. So if you have that, go listen. And there's a lot of cool podcasts on there, like your favorites. It's Support KE. Support KE. So just wanted to plug that.
Oh my God, Sam, this is the most inappropriate place to do this, but like we forgot to. I'm sorry, and this is not meant as disrespect, but I just want to say this before the podcast ends because I know it'll annoy me. One song we forgot to shout out was Looney Tunes by Kili Hippie and the Swami. We forgot to talk about that. I just want to say that was a fire song. I just forgot to shout it out when we were doing the music. Okay, guys, this outro has been too long, so we'll see you guys on episode 92.